I am Roy Stringer. I'm from Clondalkin, Neilstown. My life before God was a lot of drugs, a lot of lust, a lot of violence, a lot of anger. I thought what was fulfilment in my life, but at the end of the day, when it come around to Monday, you just have the Monday blues, and it's just the same week all over again. You wouldn't move, wouldn't progress in life, just always stuck, like stagnated, didn't level up at all. Just living for the weekend really, and that was really a low point. The drugs, the drinking started when I was a very young age, 14, 15. Just always dabbling in it, like meeting up with the lads on a Friday, probably sometimes wouldn't get home till Sunday, just missing out on family things, events, I was going down a really bad path, a really sinful path, and just drinking. You'd always thinking, oh yeah, 1, 2 drinks be grand, then you're out with the lads and it's 3, 4, and then all of a sudden you're not home the next day, people are ringing you looking for you, and it's just the same over and over again. It's just, there was no end to it. The fulfilment was just the laughs that we had, you know what I mean? I think that was because I was out enjoying my time there and then, in the moment, having the laugh with the boys, just not going home, staying up late, just doing everything that we could to stay together and just have the laugh. And I think that was what I thought was fulfilment. But then, sure, when you go home, you're by yourself, you're in your room, you're on the come down, it's just like there's no boys there to be laughing anymore to keep that buzz up, and then you really do hit a wall, and then after that you just honestly go into a hole, and it's just, you'll be thinking about everything then, and it's just, I had no peace at all with it. My mind was just running and running, and it's just couldn't rest. I would say, like, my mind state was very poor, very bad, like really bad. Just negative thinking all the time, anxious. I had no peace in my life. I think that was a big one. Like, just no peace. Just certain situations that I was in as well. There was no peace in them, and I didn't feel right where I was. You know, I couldn't. To no end, I was just no peace, just negative thinking, and just it would not stop. Every morning, every night before I go to sleep, it was just the same over and over and over. I was in a situation that I was in, and I was looking for answers. And I think I was following this fella on Instagram, and he was leading a church over the internet. And like, I'd never signed up for anything now, I was just looking at his reels and all, and just, seeing how he goes about life. And then after that, I think it was like, I was following him for a few weeks, and then God, where I grew up, like, there was no such thing as God. I grew up in Neilstown, Clondalkin, nice area if you're from there, but of course, every area has its own downfalls. Just drugs everywhere, violence everywhere, people fighting, just everything going on. Like, you're just always getting mixed up in things, and then it's to no end. Like, literally, just anything that you try and do just always turns bad, and it's just never really works out in your favour, you know what I mean? There's no good opportunities where I was from, and then obviously then I started following him on Instagram. And then I think for the first time in my life, since I was a kid, since I was forced it, but the first time in my life I'd said a prayer, just asking for direction and just asking to help me in my life and which way I should go. And then I think it was only 3 days after I had met my partner that I'm with now, and our first conversation she had asked, like, am I a Christian? And I said, yeah. Obviously at the time it was just the way it happened. I'd said a prayer asking for direction. 3 days later I'd met her asking me, am I a Christian, and is this how I want to, things about life and all. And I think that was the spark that actually made me come closer to God. She had invited me to church, because I had asked about, how to get deeper in the faith and all, and then she had said about Expectation Church, and that was only in Liffey Valley. It was only across the road from me, so I said, yeah, I'd love to give it a try. And honestly, it was just completely different to what I was used to growing up and all. Like, I think what really moved me was the amount of faith that people had there. I think the first time I was there, I looked over to my right, and the kid must have only been about 16, 17. He was there by himself, school bag on his back. He had his hands up in the air, and I think that, looking at him really moved me, and I was like, right, like, if he could have that much faith and he's much younger than me, well then I need to come closer to God and find peace with him. And that's if I actually did what happened, I've came to God, found peace, and I'm able to rest now when I'm sitting in bed at home at night alone, knowing that God's looking over my life. The decision to follow Jesus in my life was because when I had first come to the church and they were talking about like the Saviour and you know Jesus and everything that He is, I feel like I followed Jesus because of the peace that He gave me. You know, He put my mind at ease. Everything in my life was really upside down at the time. But obviously I was going around every day with a smile on my face just pretending. Then I think he gave me that peace within me, inside me, and I was a very unforgiving man before I met Jesus. And I think He's helped me with that a lot as well. You know, I've learned how to forgive quickly, a lot more than what I did, and I'm not as angry as much, and He's really just turned me from one person to another, and I think that's why I can see the change in myself as well. So I think that's why I follow Him now as well, because I can actually see the impact I had on my life, and I know the impact it can have on other people's lives. The joy is mainly because of who He made me to be, and I know now like He's helped me in my relationships, but not just like with my partner, but like with my family, with my dad. Like I didn't really see my dad growing up as much, and now I'm able to better that relationship with him. I'm able to talk to him better. I'm able to not get as angry when he does like to correct me as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think Jesus really like helped me better my relationships with everyone in my life and even in business as well. That's another miracle as well, like that I could talk about. Like I prayed and fasted before I had 5 1-hour interviews for the job, and I prayed and fasted for a few days and didn't think I was getting it. And then I was standing in my partner's kitchen and I was like, oh, like I don't think I've got it. I haven't got to call you. And then she turned around and said to me, like, it's all in God's will. Whatever He wants for your life will happen. And I think about 30 seconds later, the phone rang saying that I got the contract. So honestly, it's crazy like what He's done in my life. And I think the joy is not just what He's done in my life, but who He made me be in this life compared to my environment and who I grew up around and stuff like that. I think Jesus, to me, would be peace overall, peace and forgiveness in my life. And I think He's the eternal love that I've been looking for in my life as well. You know, it's when you're going around like a very lustful man and not getting fulfilled with what you're doing in that life, I think Jesus comes into your life and He can fill that void and give you that love that you've always been looking for, and just give you peace, not just that love but peace with it. And then He can tell you how to be the man that you need to be to like fulfill His will in this life. It is a leap of faith, but I think that's what God asks you to have. In my life, I didn't know God at all, didn't grow up around God, a godly house, didn't live a godly life, very sinful man. But now I know that my sins are forgiven, that He can forgive anyone's sins. And I think if people are seeing this, they just need to take the chance with God and just say, do you know what? Like if they're in a bad spot, like what else could happen? Like what's the worst that could happen, you know, if you hit rock bottom? You know what I mean? He can bring you back up to the mountaintop that you're looking for and just give you that salvation in life. Jesus is my saviour in my life. He's completely turned my life around from who I was to who I am now. He's worked miracles into my life. He's worked miracles into who I am as a man and what I see a man should be in this life, and not just, you know, running around gallivanting doing sinful stuff, you know. And yeah, He really has worked miracles and saved me in my life.